What if I told you the traditional retirement advice you've been following is mathematically guaranteed to fail? As an investment advisor with nearly $8 million in assets, I see this mistake all the time. Professionals are working an extra decade for money they don't actually need. Even doctors and executives earning $500K or more are miscalculating what they need to retire by potentially millions of dollars. Also, if you're saving just 5 to 10% of your income for retirement, you're setting yourself up for failure or decades of unnecessary work. While the principles that I'm about to share are universally applicable, if you're a high-earning professional or business owner making $200,000 to $500,000 or more annually, this message is especially important for you. The traditional retirement system wasn't designed for your income level, and following conventional advice could cost you decades of freedom. And so today, you'll discover the exact formula to calculate your true retirement number and create a realistic path to financial independence years or even decades earlier than you thought possible. So, what I'm going to show you first is how to calculate your real FIRE number based on your actual spending, not arbitrary targets. Then I'm going to show you the simple way to determine your current position on the path to financial independence. And then I'm going to show you which variables actually matter for accelerating your timeline to freedom and which are complete distractions. Every day you follow traditional retirement math is another day you're potentially working for money you don't need. So let's break down the first crucial step, calculating your true FIRE number. So step number 1, calculate your real financial independent retire early number. When it comes to retirement planning, most people just pull arbitrary numbers out of thin air. High earners and even working professionals often assume they need massive sums of money, like $5 million or more, without connecting these figures to their actual spending. This disconnection between your retirement number and real expenses leads to years or even decades of unnecessary work. Traditional financial advisors perpetuate this problem by recommending generic targets based on replacing 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income. But here's the issue. Your retirement needs should be based on your expenses in retirement, not your income. So a surgeon making $500,000 a year who spends $150,000 a year doesn't need to replace her full income to maintain her lifestyle. When clients come to me thinking they need enormous sums of money, I always ask, what are your actual expenses? They usually pause, unable to answer with any sort of precision. This is exactly why I created the FIRE OS course and community, which is 100% free, by the way. We walk through these exact calculations together so you can get clarity on your real numbers instead of guessing. I've seen how transformative this process is for our community members. The uncertainty around retirement numbers creates fear, and fear leads to paralysis or excessive saving. I had a tech client who delayed retirement by 8 years because he overestimated his needs by nearly $1.5 million. Some argue that it's better to save over than undersave, but this ignores the precious life energy and the time that you're trading. So each extra year you work unnecessarily is a year you can't get back with your family, pursuing passions, or building a legacy beyond your career. So here's the simplified formula that's going to change everything for you. It is very conservative, but it's going to be helpful. You take your annual expenses and you multiply by 25. That's your financial independence retire early number. And it's based on the Trinity study, a 4% safe withdrawal rate, which has been tested across multiple market conditions and a full cycle. So by accurately calculating your FIRE number based on actual expenses, you create a precise, achievable target rather than chasing some arbitrarily large sum of money. Even better, this formula reveals a powerful leverage point. Every $1,000 you reduce in annual expenses reduces your required nest egg by $25,000. Now that you know exactly how much you need, the next critical step is determining where you stand today on your financial independence journey. So step number 2 is knowing your starting point. Many high-earning professionals have no clear idea of their current financial position. Like a traveler without GPS coordinates, they know their destination but have no starting point to plot their course. This knowledge gap makes the path to financial independence feel longer and more uncertain than it actually is. I recently met with a couple making over $300,000 combined who had accounts scattered across 4 different institutions with multiple accounts and no real strategy. They had retirement accounts from previous employers, investment accounts with different brokers, and various other assets. And when I asked them their net worth, they could not answer with any sort of confidence. Unfortunately, this fragmented approach is surprisingly common among high earners who focus intensely on income but neglect the bigger picture of wealth building. Some folks argue that tracking net worth is just time consuming, but honestly, modern tools make this process simple and automated. Others believe that their high income will naturally translate into wealth, but without tracking, many high earners suffer from lifestyle inflation that consumes all of their additional income. And I've seen people make multiple 6 figures who still feel financially insecure because they've never taken inventory of their overall position. So the solution is pretty straightforward. Calculate your net worth by adding up all of your assets, retirement accounts, investments, home equity, cash, and subtracting out all liabilities, mortgages, student loans, and other kinds of debts. This single number tells you exactly where you stand. For example, if your FIRE number is $2.5 million, and your current net worth, not including your primary residence, because you're probably not going to sell that to invest, you're about 40% of the way to financial independence. Knowing your starting point transforms vague financial goals into a concrete journey with measurable milestones and visible progress. This clarity eliminates uncertainty and allows you to make strategic decisions about saving, investments, and career moves based on your actual position. So with your destination and starting point clearly defined, now you can focus on the variables that truly accelerate your path to financial independence. So step number 3 is focus on the variables you can control. So most people obsess over investment performance, and this is the most unpredictable aspect of wealth building. They chase hot stocks, switch strategies constantly, and try to time market movements in pursuit of higher returns. The performance fixation distracts from the 2 variables that matter far more that you can actually control. You see, there are only 3 levers that you can pull in wealth building, and it's time, when you start, critical mass, how much money you save, and performance, your returns. And the financial media doesn't help. They flood us with these headlines about performance because it sells subscriptions and it generates clicks. Investment firms often will emphasize performance because it justifies their fees. I've made this mistake myself early in my career, jumping between strategies and constantly tweaking my portfolio. And a lot of times, all that effort produced worse results than just simply investing in index funds. So many high earners, oftentimes they believe their smarts and their expertise should translate into market-beating returns, oftentimes leading to complex strategies that underperform simpler approaches. The data is pretty clear. So studies show that nearly 80% of active managers fail to beat the benchmark averages over 15 years. Even telling a higher savings rate of 20% will get you to financial independence roughly twice as fast easy math, has a 10% rate, regardless of the investment performance. So for working professionals and high earners alike, this is particularly powerful. If you focus on maximizing your savings rate starting early, you can even achieve the most modest returns and still reach financial independence decades before traditional retirement. So this practical approach is simple. You start investing early, save aggressively, at least 20% of your income, and just use simple low-cost index funds for the core of your portfolio. Build critical mass in your investments, then consider a fund manager who can demonstrate to you superior performance. By focusing on the variables you control when you start and how much you save, you create certainty in an uncertain market and dramatically accelerate your path to financial independence. And this shift in focus from unpredictable performance to controllable variables simplifies decision making and reduces financial anxiety. So when you combine your accurate FIRE number, clear knowledge of your starting point, and focus on the variables you can control, you create an unstoppable formula for financial freedom. Traditional retirement planning keeps most people working decades longer than necessary. By mastering these three principles, you can chart a direct path to financial independence, potentially decades earlier than your peers. Well, that's all there is for today. If you've enjoyed this video, I encourage you to check out the next ones, either here or over here, and I'll see you next time.